This is a video analysis of swimmer M's front cross stroke. To help analyse swimmer M's performance, the black principle is used. Using this principle allows us to break down their performance into separate sections, looking at their body position, legs, arms, breathing and their timing of the overall stroke. Looking at the swimmer's body position, you can see that the body is not very streamlined. Comparing this to the ideal body position, you can see that the hips and feet are too far under the water and not just under the surface like picture B. Having his hips and feet too far under the water can cause an increase in frontal resistance, making it harder for the swimmer to travel through the water efficiently. The swimmer's face is also too far in the water, as you can see in picture A. The water is broken too far up on his head, where it should be broken between the hairline and the middle of his head. But by having his head too low in the water, it interrupts the rest of his body by causing the legs to drop and making the body less streamlined, causing an increase in frontal and wave resistance. The head position could be caused by the swimmer looking too far forwards in the water. Overall, by having this poor body position, the athlete will find it harder to travel through the water quickly and efficiently due to having an increase in frontal resistance. Moving on to looking at the swimmer's leg kick, the first thing that you'll notice is that the swimmer does not kick from the hips, as you can see in picture B. But by kicking from the knee and not the hips, it can decrease the swimmer's propulsion. It can also have an effect on the swimmer's body position, as by kicking from the knee can cause the feet to drop lower in the water, increasing resistance. When the swimmer is kicking, he does not kick in the same line of body rotation, and because he is kicking from the knee, it causes the swimmer to cross their legs, therefore affecting the swimmer's propulsion. The crossover in the legs is caused by a twist in the upper body when rotating. Another problem in the legs is that the swimmer does not have a continuous and alternating leg kick, with loose ankles, which you can see in picture A. This affects the swimmer's propulsion because having a continuous and alternating leg kick allows for more propulsion, but having loose ankles with their tone turned in acts as a more efficient flipper, allowing for the swimmer to travel quicker through the water. Overall, by using this type of leg kick, it will affect the speed and efficiency of the swimmer travelling through the water by having poor propulsion and increasing the resistance. Looking at the swimmer's arm action, it is relatively positive with only a couple of problems that could be improved to help with the propulsion. However, one thing that the swimmer does do really well is the curvilinear pattern in the downsweep phase. By doing this, it allows the swimmer to continually pull themselves through the water, increasing propulsion and helping the swimmer travel faster. One part of the technique that was identified as could be improved was during the recovery phase, the whole arm comes out of the water together instead of having the elbow come up first with the hand following afterwards. By following this technique of elbow surfacing first, it helps reduce wave resistance, helping to increase the speed of the stroke. The last part of the stroke that was identified as could be improved was the entry of his hand, which enters the water flat, which also increases wave resistance, slowing down their propulsion. This could easily be rectified by turning their palm in so the thumb and fingers enter first, followed by the rest of the arm, which would help reduce wave resistance. Overall, the swimmer's arm technique is very good. However, with the two areas of weakness identified, the swimmer is affected in their propulsion, increasing surface resistance, which could affect their speed of the stroke. Looking at swimmer M's breathing, it is clear that the swimmer rolls their head to one side to breathe, but then lifts their head out to the other side. See picture A. This is because the swimmer does not breathe every 3 strokes and is also holding their breath. See picture B, which means the swimmer is swimming as long as they can without taking a breath and having to come up to breathe. And because they don't have enough time to do this, they have to lift their head up to the other side to make sure they get enough breath. By the swimmer lifting their head, it can cause problems in other parts of the stroke. The first problem is that by the swimmer lifting their head, it can cause the back to be high and arched, meaning the legs sink and make the body less streamlined, increasing frontal resistance by at least 20 to 35%, therefore making it harder to travel through the water quickly. By the legs being deeper in the water, it can also have an effect on the swimmer's leg kick, making it less effective, therefore having less propulsion, slowing the swimmer down. Due to the swimmer not exhaling in the water, the swimmer's buoyancy is increased. This means that the upper body is too high. It also causes the leg to sink, which then can cause an increase in resistance and decrease in the propulsion. Overall, from the swimming having a poor breathing technique, it can cause further issues in other parts of the stroke, for example, cause poor body position and can also cause an ineffective leg kick, both increasing resistance and making it harder for the swimmer to propel themselves through the water. And by the swimmer learning to breathe every 3 strokes, so bilateral breathing and rolling their head to one side, it can improve their stroke technique, which you can see in picture C. The last part of the black principle is timing. For the timing to be good, the swimmer must have a continuous and alternating leg kick and arm cycle. The swimmer does have a positive arm stroke, however the swimmer's leg kick is not continuous, which can cause a decrease in propulsion. Due to having a non-continuous leg kick, the swimmer only has a 2-beat leg kick per an arm cycle, with the recommended being 6. This is because it helps with propelling the swimmer through the water much quicker. The low beat kick is because he crosses them and performs a scissor kick, which can come from a weakness in the upper body, but it also stems from kicking from the knee. The last part of timing is having a regular breathing pattern. either bilateral or unilateral. The swimmer in the video does not have any of these. The swimmer holds their breath in the water, comes up to breathe when he needs to, and because of this, he has to lift his head and breathe to both sides. If the swimmer learnt to breathe every 3 strokes, it will also help fix other issues that this causes within the stroke. Overall, if the swimmer increased their timing, they would be able to travel more efficiently and quicker through the pool, due to a decrease in resistance and propulsion. Overall, from the swimmer lifting their head and holding the breath, it can have a negative effect on the rest of the stroke. This is why the progressive practices, which can be viewed in the document attached, are focused on breathing technique, because by doing this it could help improve other areas, making their stroke more effective due to the decrease in resistance and maybe an increase in the swimmer's propulsion.